2002. And I gave him 3 names. And all 3 of them are now standing committee members of the Politburo. And he didn't know any one of the 3. And it has nothing to do with Bill Bradley. I bet you 99% of the Americans in those days would not know those 3 guys.
Right.
But for those of us who deal with China day in and day out, we knew them years ago. By 1992, I had those 3 names already. And that was 1998 that 1996, I know, yeah, 1996 that Bill Bradley asked me. Again, that shows the ignorance of the foreigners in China. By the way, if you need advice from China, don't go to the so-called experts, and don't go to the newspaper except for facts. Go to those people who have done business there, have made mistakes there, and have then succeeded there. Those are the only people you should go to. But anyway, back to the question about, today, I think the betting average, my betting average in those days was much better than Babe Ruth. I was 1.0, right? The next time around, I may not be 1.0, but I think, to do a 0.5 betting average is very, very doable. Who will be the next generation of leaders? And you look at those guys, and these guys are very, very pragmatic. These guys are highly educated. So I'll end with one story, if I may, very simple. In around 1989, 1990, a Chinese student was traveling on a train in Siberia, and he bumped into a Russian student. And the Russian student said, the Chinese student said, I really admire you all in Russia. You, without shedding blood, you change your government. And the Russian student said something very, very, with insight. He said, in Russia, we're already into our 7th or 9th generation leader. Whereas in China, as of 1989, 1990, you're still in the 1st generation leader. When your leadership become technocrats rather than ideologues, then things will begin to change a lot faster. And in fact, it may change a lot faster than we think. And let's face it, by the time we get to Hu Jintao, they're already very, very pragmatic people. They understand the world, and they deal according to reason. And I believe that the next generation of leaders will be even more open-minded, know the world, the rest of the world better, and as a result, I think they will be very pragmatic. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that they would give foreign investors all kinds of goodies, like they did, as Wilbur alluded to it, because they needed it in those days. So don't say that because they don't give us goodies, they are not as open-minded. Right? The level playing field has to be somehow, sometime leveled between the foreigners and the local Chinese players. And I think that's exactly what we are seeing. So the good days, in some sense, is gradually slipping away from us. So if you're not already in China, well, you better get in there quick. If not, it may be too late.
Oh, great. Thank you, Ronnie. Actually, I'm sorry, I violate my own rule there. I shouldn't applause until the very end, but it was just too good. Now, with that, based on my watch, I still got 5 minutes, so I would ask, 3:30 we're to wrap up, right? Nope? No more? 2 minutes, okay. General Fu said 2 minutes. So with that, if I can ask you 30 seconds, your last advice for our audience, what would that be for investing in China? 30-second answer.
You will make mistakes, but keep at it, you'll learn it, and you will make a lot of money.
Good. Wilbur?
Well, he stole my line. No, I think everyone from abroad who's going into China should read first that book, Mr. China, about the mistakes that were made by an early private equity guy there. There was chapter after chapter of things that were done wrong. And when you really analyze it, it was mainly that the guy didn't think things through and didn't really deal with the real world situation. I thought it was a very powerful book and should be required reading for anybody going into China the first time.
Great. Thank you, Wilbur. Andy?
I think a compendium of the above, and don't go in for the short term. You've heard that a lot of times. Don't go in for the short term. And maybe another book to read, which maybe is a little bit out of date, but I think kind of tells you the way things really were quite a while ago, and in some places still are. It's a Beijing Jeep about the AMC foray in the mid-'80s to start building cars there. And it's not like that anymore at all, but it kind of gives you some of the issues you will face. And then don't be surprised. I mean, nothing happens there that probably hasn't happened to a multinational company and somewhere else in the world at some point in time. And I tell people, hey, it's just the way it is. You have to figure out how to deal with it if you want to be here, and I think we all want to be here.
Yeah,
So,
thank you. And my lasting advice is don't learn from other people's mistake, because that might be outdated. Okay, you have to make your own mistake, right, Ronnie?
Yeah.
And so everybody have different experience, there are different success formula in China, so you can all make a lot of money in China. So with that, I want to thank, on behalf of C-100, I want to thank you to our panelists. They are just great.